Katrina here from Scrappy Horses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to take a look at a journal page in my new journal that I'm making for 2020. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you more about this journal as we go along, but I'll start here on this video. I'm showing you that I'm starting with a piece of mixed media paper and 3 different stencils from Latina Crafter. These are really nice stencils, so I'm sure you would enjoy having them in your stash. I'm going to use some old retired close to my heart ink. This wonderful big coffee cup digi is from Scribbles Designs, and I've colored it with Copic Markers. I'm going to be using those little coffee beans, that little stamp. These are all close to my heart stamp sets. They're all retired. This one, I'm going to use the January and the 2 and the 0. And on this one, I'm going to use the this year's goals and this little piece that has the dotted lines on it for my journaling. So coming back to this piece, again, it's a piece of mixed media paper. I just picked it up at, I think, our local Walmart. You can find it on Amazon. You can find mixed media paper in all the craft stores. It's very easy to find. I cut it into a 6x6 square, and I have a cinch machine, and that put my holes in it. And when I'm done getting the pages, I'm going to go ahead and bind them all together. Now what I'm doing here is I am simply going through with a sponge and I'm just inking around the edges. And you'll notice that I'm leaving that left middle area a little bit lighter because that's where I want to put my journaling stamp. So I started with my 2 lightest brown colors to ink around the edges. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to take my block and stamp with, I believe I used the Cashmere color. Again, these are all retired colors, I believe, from Close to My Heart. You can certainly find your Close to My Heart consultant and find colors that are very much like these, I'm sure, if these are truly retired. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this in, and it's going to go on the left side here, and that's where I'm going to write down some of my goals for 2020, some of the things I'd like to accomplish. As you can see, I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not measuring anything. I knew I wanted more than just the 5 lines that were there, so I stamped it twice, and that way I could have 10 lines there to write on. I believe that's 10 lines. Now I'm coming in with the darker chocolate colored ink, and I'm going around the edges, and I'm going to come in now with one of those fun stencils. Now this is just sort of like a coffee ring, you know, like you set your coffee down on something, and so it makes coffee rings on the paper. And I put it in with the chocolate. I decided that I'd like a little bit darker, so I went in with a darker color. I think it's called Cocoa, and I went in with that darker color and then went over it with the chocolate to kind of give it a just a little different look. And I did the opposite on the one in the bottom right hand corner. Now the one that I'm doing over my journaling spot, I want to keep that very light, so I just lightly went in with the chocolate. Now I'm coming in with the coffee beans, and I'm layering over, again, using some of the chocolate over it. I'm making my cocoa beans, or coffee beans actually, I'm making them darker at the edges and then lightening up as I come in towards the center, keeping it very light over my journaling spots so that when I write, my journaling will show up easily. So I just sort of go around the edges, just putting it in with a sponge. Very easy to do. Now I'm going to come in with that coffee bean stamp from that retired set from Close to My Heart. And I'm going to use the chocolate ink and just randomly put some coffee beans around that coffee cup and around the edges of the journal page. This will sort of give my coffee cup a little bit of framing. That's why you see me putting the coffee cup in there to see where it's going to sit so that I can get those little coffee beans around that cup. Again, it's all about layering and adding interest to the page without distracting from your main focal point, which in my case is this wonderful big cup of coffee. I love this Bow Bunny glitter paste. It is so much fun. The color is copper, and all I'm going to do is use my finger and just sort of push it into the stencil. Now, as you can see, I moved that stencil and I thought I was going to be in big trouble. I thought I was going to have a smeared up mess underneath there. But I went ahead, I put it back, and I continued rubbing the glitter over, hoping that it would work. And sure enough, I pulled it off, and you'll see here in just a minute what I came up with. So there it is. It worked out just fine. No problems. Now, I've already colored my cup of coffee here, and you'll note that I colored the cup. Then I printed the cup again, and I cut away the lid, and I cut away the wrap that goes around the cup. When you get this digi from Scribbles, the grab your big cup and get her done is not written on there. So you can put on there whatever you want to put on and personalize your cup the way you like it. You'll note that on the bottom, I went ahead and colored it. I was just testing colors on that bottom. And I went in and drew or colored with a really dark, I think it was E59 or E59 in my Copic collection. Just take a nice shadow to go under the cup wrapper. Now what I've done here is I've gone ahead and put just flat tape on the top and bottom. This is double-sided tape. And I used 3D tape in the middle. So that's going to give my cup lid a little bit of dimension when I put it on. Now, I am not always 100% accurate when I place things on, and I know that these double-sided tapes really grab, so I tend to put a little bit of glue on there just so I have a little bit of wiggle room. I did set that aside for a second while I went ahead and added the double-sided tape to the cup wrap. I know there's a name for that cup wrapper and I can't think of it, and I wish you could just like tap on your computer screen and say, hey, it's a, but I'm just going to keep calling it a cup wrapper because I can't remember. So anyway, moving on. There is my lid, and again, I could squish it around a little bit if I needed to. And again, I'm going to use a little bit of that fabric tack glue and kind of smush it over the tape so that again, I've got that wiggle room. If I don't place it exactly where I like it, I can move it and get it placed where I like it. So there we are. And now you'll see that this underneath colored part creates that shadow where the wrapper went around it. My cup was colored in the E4s. The wrapper was colored in the E3s, and the dark is an E5 on the very edge. Now I'm going to come in and get my stamping, my actual verbiage done. And you'll notice that I sort of tap that on my hand, even though this is an old set. Some of these stamps I've never used. So this gave me a great opportunity to get those out and use them. So I'm going to be stamping in this year's goals, and I'm just using a black Memento ink. I find that if I put the little rubbery, plasticky liner underneath it, I get a better impression when I stamp. A lot of times I use my Misty to stamp, but I didn't feel like I needed it just for this small amount of stamping. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my date here alongside the cup, and I'm moving that off screen because I needed to get right over it. I could have leaned in, but then you just would have seen my hair, so it wouldn't have done any good to do that either. So all I did was just kind of line it up with where the cup is, or where I think I want the cup, and I'm just going ahead and stamping in the January with the 2020. I'll finish up my page just simply by getting an ATG gun and taping the back of my cup, and then going over that with a little bit of that fabric tack, and then adhering that to my page. And my coffee goals tenacity is page for my journal is all finished and ready. Hey, if you're looking for some good prompts this year for your journal or any other craft project, come on over to Path of Positivity and check out what we're doing. We've got some great ideas this year, and I know they're going to inspire you to create some very positive things this year. Hey, thanks for coming by today. It's always great to have company at my YouTube channel. Feel free to leave me a comment, check out other videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.